Good morning. Can you effing believe this? It is surreal. It is absolutely surreal. None of this is real. Believe me when I tell you today is the day. The man has lost his mind. Ignore the man behind the effing curtain. Seriously, this is like so far out of control. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All my videos are made for YouTube. It's an infotainment platform. And what else? I'm going to give my people a few minutes to come on into the chat and show off my necklaces in the meantime. This is effing crazy, you guys. This is so fabricated. So hit your like button, like, share, subscribe, share this live if you're watching, please. Somebody's out there that already hit the like button. I appreciate that. This is real, that our nation is being hijacked by the crazy orange man behind the curtain with his flying effing monkeys. So they're trying to say that this 22-year-old guy, what did they say his name is? Tyler Robinson. His Pawpaw turned him in. You know, he confessed to his daddy. I'm sure he has like a whole manifesto where he says he loves Trump, he hates Trump. Veha, hello. OMG. Are you paying attention to this crap? I was going to watch it live with you guys. If you care. So this is on MSNBC right now, live, breaking news. They're trying to turn this into religious theater. This is absolute insanity. I'd love to get your opinion, Vieja. You know, the guy who was behind the Trumpster fire doing, not the one with the baseball cap, the other guy, the guy who like rolled up his sleeve and did this and he had all the tattoos. Annabise, I need you, girl. That same guy, one of the two behind Charlie Kirk during the assassination, was the guy right next to Trump during that staged assassination a year ago, the day before the second anniversary of his ex-wife falling down a flight of stairs to her demise. Yes, I'm flabbergasted over all the controversy. So last night, Trump announced that, or his people announced that he had COVID. And now they switched gears. Now they're saying that they had arrested this guy last night at 10 o'clock. I don't know if I can stay awake. I worked last night. Annabise, I don't think it's safe to sleep. Like, I'm going to turn this on. This is live on MSNBC, and this is 1,000% not real. Let me repeat, not real. I don't even know if you can hear it.
I cannot speak to that.
This man is trying to turn it into a prayer vigil. All we need is your prayers and positivity.
Well, I will leave that up to you to interpret what those engravings mean.
The engravings.
The clearest one that says "catch fascist."
Oh, I thought it said ketchup.
There's not, and by the way, that's like catch like a ball. Catch this.
No, ketchup. Ketchup fascist.
For itself.
More the baseball, huh? They like that metaphor. This is completely effing bonkers. So
there's nothing more that we can share at this time.
You know that last night thousands of little emails were released that completely implicate the Trumpster fire.
We do not at this time have any information that would lead to any additional arrests.
In all kinds of mayhem.
Yes.
Including
the investigation is
current recent crap with Ghislaine and Todd Blanche. Oh, who they thanked for being so extra special awesome that if it wasn't for him, they couldn't have arrested
Mr. Robinson has been
Mr. Robinson.
you heard the president this morning report that he was taken into custody, that his family and a friend helped to deliver him.
Oh, now it's family and a friend. I thought it was just Pawpaw.
Enforcement in Washington County. For those of you that don't know where Washington County is, it is the southwesternmost part of the state of Utah. It's about a
why are they giving us lessons in geography? All you need to say is
that's where
he's arrested. It's all good. Thank you. Have a great day. We'll tell you more when it's appropriate. No, they're just trying to sell this crap.
I can't share any more than what
I can't share any more. They're saying they had him in custody for 12 hours already. But they just got around to this announcement now. Right. I believe they planned it. I don't believe anything they say.
We do know that he drove. We had his car here.
I know. These guys are such a waste of time. Kash Patel is looking crazier than ever. Here he is. Can you see this? What? Don't look into my eyes, like with that Amanda Knox quote. You're not going to find the truth by looking into my eyes. You're not going to see anything by looking into my eyes. And this is actually like the most normal picture I ever saw of him. This is just a screenshot that I just took. Let's see about another one.
On campus.
Here we go. He is the man who always looks like he just sat on his balls, right? Oh, they think we got this. We're out of the woods now. Donnie's on his way to Daddy Vladdy, and everybody's safe except Charlie Kirk and his kids. Why did it take so long to find the shooter? Well, because they're insane and it's just poor planning, and they're in complete panic crisis mode. And so they're all taking orders from the crazy man behind the curtain who paints his face orange and has half of a brain left and has been stroking out. In my opinion, that's why. I don't think that a lot of people are buying anything. They're trying so desperately to start this war. The thing with like crowd control and mob mentality is it's unpredictable. You can't control human nature and the way people are going to respond to something. So I actually believe that they thought that incident on the tram a few days ago in North Carolina with the Ukrainian model getting stabbed in the neck, 14 times? I think that was staged. I'm not saying that she's not deceased, but I think that was an attempt at trying to create what they also then tried again to create with Charlie Kirk. So that didn't work. That barely got anybody's attention other than Charlie Kirk. Oh, and I don't know if you guys were here yesterday. I know you were, Annabise. I think you were, Vieja, when I was trying to look to see if Amanda Knox had interviewed with Charlie Kirk. I was getting my wires crossed because it was Joe Rogan. I'm just making sure all my wires are hooked up. As I say, my wires crossed. Joe Rogan has interviewed Amanda Knox handfuls of time. And, I don't pay much attention to him either. I know that he's like the hugest person on YouTube. So, of course, I know who he is. And I've paid a little bit of attention to him, especially as he's seemed to develop some common sense with all of this. So I just wanted to let you know that it was Amanda Knox with Joe Rogan, not Charlie Kirk. I mean, in my mind, they're very, very similar. I don't think that they're that similar as I'm learning more. I don't think Joe Rogan is full of that vitriol that Charlie Kirk was spewing. This whole thing is so crazy. Trumpster fire belongs in handcuffs. I don't care that he's El Presidente. He's committed so many crimes. They should be able to arrest him for the child rape that is completely evident in the birthday book and in these emails. And did you know that Jiz and Jeff were trying to make a baby? That's also in the emails. They were trying to make a baby, the two of them. Is that so sweet? Maybe they thought that they could use that as part of like a negotiating, oh, well, he's a lovely family man. His wife's expecting. Not that they were married, but they could have gotten married. So say it loudly, Vieja. Same here, Jazz. I watch Rogan once in a while. Yeah, he's not a bad guy. I mean, I sometimes tune into him. Like I said, especially because he seems to be much more reasonable lately. I think what Kash Patel was on his show during, which event was that, when like the Epstein files were released, and when Kash said, oh, well, I'm going to stay in my lane. I don't know anything about this. I know where my lane is, and it doesn't have to do anything with that. It's like, dude, that is your lane. That is your lane. Is that what this said? So, I came on thinking that we just need to put our heads together. We need to talk to our friends. This is Friday. The 12th, the day after 9/11. Am I all plugged in? It looks like the battery on my computer is low, but it's all plugged in. So it should be charging up. But, I really think that they have the ability to blow up your devices remotely too. So I wouldn't be surprised if I lose the connection. And if I do, I will try to come back on. But it's Friday. Things with this administration, they love to have them happen over the weekend and overnight. Was it just last weekend? It seems like years ago, where they were like waking up the foster children in the middle of the night and loading them onto airplanes to deport them to Guatemala. Was that just a week ago? Was that just 5 days ago? Or was that 2 weeks ago? I think it was 2 weeks ago, because it was the Labor Day weekend. So yeah, phew. I was thinking if that was 5 days ago, and it seems like forever ago, but they're just so rapidly moving through the news cycle, knowing that they're diminishing anybody's ability to keep up with any of this. I mean, this is what I do for a living full time at this point, is watch YouTube videos and make YouTube videos. So for people that, like you, Anna Bees, that are working full-time nursing, or my husband who's working full-time in law enforcement, you can't pay attention to this crap. You absolutely can't pay attention to this crap. It'll confuse you. I mean, all you can pay attention to is like the headline, like, oh, guy was arrested, guy apprehended. Okay, good. Now I can get on with my day without worrying about a suspect being at large. So they're trying to say they had all this videotape footage of him, but they kept arresting the wrong guy. Right. Like they wouldn't be looking at that video footage instantaneously. Cash is a piece of crap. They're all pieces of crap. And when their dear leader gets put into custody, the rest of them will get put into custody too. They're trying to stave that off. Today's the day, I believe, that it's imminent. And it was almost imminent yesterday, but today it's absolutely imminent. That birthday book that was posted to the cloud on Monday night by Congress, so they wanted everyone in the world to see it, that blew up on Tuesday. But again, a lot of people aren't paying the type of attention to this that I'm paying to it, that you guys are paying to it. That birthday book is so incriminating. And Trump can say all he wants, that somebody forged my signature and said that I drew that picture, and I don't even know a picture. I don't even know a pen. I don't even know how to write. I don't even know how to read, which I'm sure is true. he can deny all he wants, but he can't say anything to combat those other 30 birthday letters that mention him as being the scum of the earth, right there with Mr. Einstein, Epstein. Einstein himself said that Trumpster Fire had no morals, that he had no moral compass, that he was afraid of him, and he had every reason to be afraid of him. The man was in charge of the prison that he passed away in. You know who else passed away in prison the exact same way? Somebody that you can't even Google. The first person to allegedly traffic Virginia Giuffre, whose name is Ron Eppinger. I think it's Ron Eppinger. He was allegedly a real estate agent, model scout in Miami, who had nothing to do with little E and little T, who started trafficking Virginia when she was like 14, I think. Possibly 12 to 14, out of his apartment or a hotel or both in Miami, which is like a whole 55 minutes away from Mar-a-Lago. They couldn't possibly have known each other. That's like an hour away. They always say that, like something can happen on their property and they'll say, oh no, that's like 200 miles away. That's not my property. That's fake news. Like, this is so insane, you guys. This is so insane. I'm so glad, Vieja, that you are in that camp of, and you too, Annabise. Let me catch up with you guys. That is so sick. I'm so glad they didn't make a baby, but she did get married to someone and had kids, didn't she? I think she's still married. And yeah, she did get married to somebody, I think 4 years ago, but I think they're estranged and I don't think they had kids. Maybe he had kids. Let me see what the Google A says, and then I'll get caught up with your comments there. Ghislaine Maxwell married in July of 2020. That's when she was arrested. Okay, here I'm just going to read. It's Scott Gerald Borgerson. They married in 2016. So I'm going to read you what Google says. In July 2020, she was arrested at her secluded mansion in the U.S. state of New Hampshire. A few months later, it emerged to general surprise that she had married a tech CEO. Oh, another tech CEO. What a coinky dink. Named Scott Borgerson. Maxwell was held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Let me see what, that's just Google. Let me see what AI says. Ghislaine Maxwell was secretly married to Scott Borgerson, a tech entrepreneur, from 2016 until their separation sometime before her trial began in late 2021. Borgerson reportedly ended the marriage during a phone call while Maxwell was in jail. Well, why didn't you just send her a text? Kidding. I know you can't get texts in jail. Oh my God. It's like a freaking Post-it note. Oh, by the way, I'm divorcing you. So while Maxwell was in jail awaiting her Rex trafficking trial, key details about the marriage kept secret. The marriage was unknown to the public and even to Maxwell. I'm kidding. I gotta be a little less tongue in cheek because it's hard for people to know. It says the marriage was unknown to the public and even to Maxwell's own family until it was disclosed by prosecutors in 2020 following her arrest. The bail application, court documents revealed that Maxwell and Borgerson were married in 2016. He wrote a letter. Oh, did he write a drawing with it? He wrote a letter in support of her bail application in which he vouched for her character. OMG. Divorce rumors. When Maxwell was in jail, Borgerson was spotted with another woman. He told Maxwell during a phone call that he had moved on and it was reported that they intended to pursue an amicable divorce. Oh, well, I wonder if they are divorced. Let's see what this says about Ghislaine Maxwell divorce. Did they ever get around to it? Ghislaine Maxwell's divorce from Scott Borgenson was discussed as a divorce of convenience, primarily to protect Borgenson from being associated with her after her arrest and the subsequent publicity. Like, he didn't know what a scumbag she was when he married her. According to Manhattan federal court papers and The Guardian, the divorce discussion was revealed in a bail hearing in late 2020, where Maxwell's lawyers argued that the couple did not want the divorce, but considered it as a way to distance Maxwell from her husband and protect their family from the ferocious media aggression. Let's see. I don't even know if it happened. Let's see what else it says. I'll read the whole thing and then get to your comments. Sorry. The divorce was discussed to create distance between Maxwell and Borgenson, protecting him from the negative consequences of their association. The conversation about divorce occurred after her arrest in July 2020, but stopped after the initial bail hearing, according to The Guardian. The marriage itself was not a subject of any discussion in the filing, and the divorce discussion was not pursued further. So maybe she's still married to this guy, which would make sense so that somebody could access all of the money that she probably has access to. Lots of money that little E hid away in Swiss bank accounts, Cayman Island bank accounts, lots of secret stashes, and just all those connections that her daddy and her boyfriend had. Motive for the discussion was an effort by Maxwell's side to refute claims made by prosecutors that the marriage was a tie that would keep Maxwell in the United States. Husband Stance Borgerson stated that he didn't know where Maxwell was at the time of her arrest and that they were friends. Okay. Sort of like the movie Green Card, but they fell in love. You know, Andy McDowell and Gerard, whatever his name was. Therefore, the divorce was not a formal process that took place, but rather a strategic conversation that Maxwell and Borgerson had after her arrest to shield her husband from the fallout of the Rex trafficking charges against her. So it doesn't even, what does Wikipedia say about it? Because it usually will have the marriage and divorce dates. I think they're still married. All it says in Wikipedia is spouse Scott Borgerson, married 2016. That's it. Yeah, he's probably accessing all the freaking money in the world. That's where all of our money has gone. To the Trumpster fire and to Scott Borgerson. I mean, the thing is, when they make $5 gazillion over the weekend, that money doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from all of us. All of us. Dang. Okay, get caught up. Cash is not capable of doing the job he was appointed to. Well, the job, I think, is what he's doing quite well, which is just standing there. I mean, seriously. And not that he's really doing it well, but I don't think he was hired to run the FBI. He doesn't know anything about it. Even Bongino, I think, knows something about it. Like, he used to be some type of CIA agent, I guess, before he was a podcaster, you know. I mean, I'm a podcaster. Like, what do I know? I know things from my life. I know things from my profession of mental health. I mean, you know, I'm figuring out how to use my laptop. Being a podcaster does not make you a good director of the FBI, in my humble opinion. just like being a weekend Fox newscaster doesn't make you a good Secretary of War and all that other crap. These people are freaking crazy. It's The Apprentice Whitehouse, and the show needs to be canceled. Seriously, it needs to be canceled today. People need to get out in the streets probably over the weekend and do the no kings crap. But people are probably going to be a little leery of it because of all this insanity, because of all the threats of the war and the Civil War, and the Democrats are demons and the Republicans are saints, and all we need is your thoughts and prayers, and all these mean people will go away and quit bothering us. So read that again. Cash is not capable of doing the job he was appointed to. I don't believe anything Ghislaine says. I don't believe anything any of these news channels say either, because they've all been bought by Trumpster fire. Fumble, bumble, idiots. Cash is incompetent. I tried to look at it, but then I got kicked out and I don't have time to keep trying to watch. Yeah, it's crazy how those weird things are happening when you try to look stuff up. If you try to look up Ron Eppinger, it just takes you to Virginia Giuffre. Like, he's been scrubbed. Why did she keep putting herself in those kinds of situations is my question. Well, I think it's so complicated when you're being trafficked like that. As a child, she was assaulted by a family friend when she was 7. I think that was consistent. I don't think that was something that just happened once or twice. And I don't know if this person was like her babysitter, but it was a family friend. It was almost family, basically. And so that was at 7. And then I think at 12 was when the stuff with Ron Eppinger started. And she was held captive. So she escaped somewhere. This is what I think I know. I mean, putting all the resources together that I've tried to look at. Somewhere around the age 14, she escaped from Ron Eppinger. But I think there was something like a 6-month period that she was with him. So that's kind of vague. 12 to 14, somewhere in there. 6 months. She was held captive. So she couldn't leave. And then she escaped. I think she ran away to California, lived on the streets, made her way back. By the time she was 16, had just reunited with her family, her biological parents, I think. And then her dad had the job at Mar-a-Lago being maintenance. And so he helped get her the job as the spa attendant. And then it seems like it was only a few weeks into her being the spa attendant that she got poached by Jiz and Little E. And then she was with them for a couple of years. I think that was like the year 2000 until about 2002. And then she was going on a trip to Thailand to bring back a specific individual for them. But while she was there, she met Robert Giuffre, and they fell in love and they got married. And then when they came back, she didn't cut all ties with Jiz and E, but she tried to. And then the rest of it happens. Then she has 3 kids with Robert. He's abusive. There's stories that he was part of their scene, that he was kind of sent in to try to control her, that he had affiliations with Jiz and Jeffrey. But it's so complicated and it's so hard to understand. And even though she spoke out, her life was threatened many times. And she spoke out against Fred Dershowitz. She spoke out against DJT. Those 2 she retracted. With the lawyer, with that Harvard lawyer, she said, I might have mistaken him for somebody else, right? That's also what he says is, he says, he just quotes her, which that's when you know it's canned. That's when you know that it's a script. He quotes her from her testimony. Well, she says that she may have mistaken me for someone else. Okay, so you're off the hook. May have doesn't mean she did. And she's not the only one that implicated both of them. But as far as we know, anybody who's implicated either one of them has either retracted their statements or disappeared. So with DJT, she phrases it like, I don't remember ever seeing him do anything inappropriate. She starts every sentence with, I don't remember, or I can't recall. But again, she's not saying that she didn't ever see him do anything inappropriate. She's just claiming not to remember. So she was scared to death of getting offed, just like Jeffrey was scared to death of getting offed. And lo and behold, they both offed themselves, right? No, I don't buy it. I really don't buy it. And I think so many people that try to say like, oh yeah, Virginia did do that. Like even her family, like they kind of have to say that or they'll be next, in my opinion, in my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. I mean, you don't play with these MFs. You just don't play. Fumble, bumble, idiots. Cash is incompetent. I tried to look at it, but then I got kicked out. I read all that. Why did Virginia? That was the last one. So does that answer the question? It's like, there's no way out. It's like that Hotel California song. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. It's like you can't leave a cult. I think that's why all of the people in the cabinet stay, because if anybody even senses that they're thinking of leaving, they might just drive off of a cliff too, or hang themselves, or, disappear. It sounds like they didn't have time to have kids. Right. It got interrupted. Is money involved between her and little T to put her in the summer camp where T let her go to now? Just a thought. Well, money's involved in all this, VHOT, and that's a great question, and always follow the money. This is all about the money. It's all about crashing our economy so that Daddy Vladdy can have all of the country's money, in my opinion. These people were behind, I've said it again and again as I've been learning this information, they were behind the economic crisis of 87. And you can learn some of the nuts and bolts of that simply on Wikipedia, reading Jeffrey Epstein's professional history. It'll fill you in on everything leading up to the 1987 economic crisis. Then we had the economic collapse of 08. And these same characters had everything to do with that too. So little E was all about the transporting of people and arms and cash. So his speciality was hiding money and hiding it for tax purposes, tax shelters. So he and D were besties, and they were, in my opinion, partners in crime, not just with the ladies, but with all of it. Like I was reading that thing a couple of days ago about the $450 million that little E stole from Towers Financial in 1996, and $450 million that T suddenly had in 1996. $450 million, so almost $500 million. Isn't that a coinky-dink? The same year that little E steals $450 million from Towers Financial, little T finally suddenly has $450 million that he didn't have at the exact same time. So It's so crazy. The high school shooting the day before yesterday at Evergreen High School in Colorado that was within a half an hour of Charlie Kirk. Oh, you guys, you want to know what I thought of yesterday? I'm so glad I have a brain that just kind of puts things together sometimes, because you can't keep up with this shit. The place where the Russian model was cut with a sharp object in the neck is the same spot where Charlie Kirk had a slug enter his neck. I'm wondering if that, either one of them or both. I was going to say Charlie Kirk. I'm wondering if the bullet was poisoned. Like, how could they be so confident that with one bullet that they'd get him? And as soon as I started to say that, I thought the knife could have been poisoned too. I mean, that's the way Russians love their poison. They freaking love their poison. And let me get her name again, because I like to give victims a name. It's sad that they're just forgotten about. I think I put her name in my title from yesterday. And let's check in on the live bullcrap if you guys want. Is it yesterday's or the day before?
Oh my God, you can't imagine how much.
Stop, you stupid ad. No, that's not from yesterday. I think it's from the day before. Yeah, the one I did 20 whole hours ago. Actually, I did 2 yesterday, so it's the first one from yesterday. So her name is Irna, IrYna Zaruska, Zarutska. So Irna Zaruska was the one who was on the tram that the alleged mentally ill guy took the sharp-edged object to her jugular. And then Charlie Kirk was shot in the jugular. The thing that's so insane about both of them is they both passed away instantly before they even bled out. So that indicates to me that there might have been poison on the weapons. Let's see. Don't believe Bongino either. I'm wondering if he's dead or alive. I mean, I don't think we've seen hide or hair of him for weeks. And the last time we saw hide and hair of him, he was threatening to quit. Who knows? I mean, I think Donnie's not the one in control of all this. It's Daddy Vladdy. And we know how he operates. A lot of poison. Literal, not metaphorical. And he could be held captive somewhere. I mean, maybe he's fine. Maybe he's in the White House. Who knows? I certainly don't. But how come we saw a lot of him and now we see none of him? It's my opinion that he, like Charlie Kirk, was dismayed with finding out that this is all a sham. OMG, yes. Info, I don't know. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Vieja. Thanks for being here, both of you. Oh, yay, money does talk. It is so sleazy and diabolical. It's hard to believe that it's true. All of these evil people are connected. It's so crazy. I mean, the world is huge and there's billions of people on the planet, and it comes down to just a small smattering of people that are controlling everything. It's all about the oligarchy. It's all about the blackmailing. You know, even the sheiks and the SARS, they all got involved with the same crap that Donnie got involved with. Daddy Vladdy is involved with that. It's not just Prince, I was going to say Prince Charles, Andrew. It's not just Prince Andrew. It could be in the royal family. I'm sure it's more than just Prince Andrew, but all of these royal families from all these different cultures, this is what they do. This is how they feel alive and powerful, is by abusing other people and taking advantage of little kids. And it's super disgusting. And yeah, what are we going to do about it? We're in America. We cannot let America succumb to the control of Daddy Vladdy. Donnie's doing everything in his power to put our country in the hands of his Daddy Vladdy, in my opinion. The collapse of the economy that's been happening this whole year is intentional, 1,000%, in my opinion, to make it easier for Daddy Vladdy to move on in. And he has, in my opinion. I just think that it's not taken completely, and that we all need to act before it's too late. And by act, I just mean talk about it. I mean, I don't even think we need to get out in the streets. Unless, of course, they take the internet down, which they very well could. I mean, they're constantly talking about taking away the water, the electricity, the internet. I mean, they're trying to create absolute pandemonium. It's like they're trying to create a movie, right? The warlords, and Elon is like all effing in. They live in a fantasy world. None of these oligarchs and sheiks, none of them have ever had to work for a living, lift a finger, worry about bills. Like, in my opinion, worrying about your bills is kind of a blessing. It keeps you focused. It keeps you grounded. For people that don't have that, sometimes they lose their minds and they're just addicted to power and substances, and they have no sense of reality. They have no sense of what's important. Like people are what's important. People first, then money, then things. I've studied Suze Orman, if you can't tell. People are what is most important. Money is less important than people. Money is for people. People are not for money. But that's where these mutants are malfunctioning, and they have faulty wiring, and there's no undoing it. Like, they just need to be put in prison, in my opinion. It is so sleazy and diabolical. It's hard to believe it's all true. All of these evil people are connected. So he bled out fast. I don't know that Charlie Kirk bled out fast. I mean, from the videotape of Irina Zaruska, the way she collapses and passes away like almost instantaneously makes it look like she bled out fast too, but you can't see very much of the red stuff. So that's why I'm thinking that maybe the weapons had poison on them. That would make perfect sense with where this is all coming from, in my opinion. I am going to read your comments, and then I'm going to go back on live and see what else bullcrap they're putting out. And then we'll just look at it for a second. Because I do think it's all bullcrap. Yes, hitting the Croatia artery. So I don't know if you're making reference to Croatia, the carotid artery, like maybe that was spell check. The jugular, sorry. Yeah. But that maybe is tongue in cheek, the Croatia artery. The Lord's way of separating good and evil, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, it was bizarre watching the news conference right before I came on, how much it was like a church service. And I bet you they're still doing that, but who knows? I mean, I think this is all very poorly planned because they think that they can control the narrative. They think that they can do A and then B will be the response, but the response is unpredictable. So then they scramble to come up with plan B. Like I think last night when they made the announcement that Trumpster Fire had COVID, they thought, okay, my thought was that he was going to pass away from COVID overnight, that they were going to fake his death and let him escape to Daddy Vladdy. But now it's like they never even said that he had COVID. And now today, because I think it was around the same time, like late last night around 10 p.m., I think is when they said he had COVID. But now today they're saying 10 p.m. is when they arrested this guy that they didn't mention until today. I think they're panicking. I think the jig is up, and this is all happening to distract the news cycle from talking about the birthday book and all the direct ties to Trumpster Fire's crimes. And then yesterday was the thousands of emails that do the same damage to him. Let's see. Let's see where MSNBC is. So they're not live anymore? Well, that's weird. Why wouldn't they be live still? If this is real. See, it's not. It's not real. Nope, they're not live anymore. It ended a couple minutes ago or a half hour ago. This is so nuts. So 9 minutes ago, the Utah governor on Charlie Kirk shooting suspect, the name and age of suspect confirmed by law enforcement. Developing 2 hours ago, Kirk shooting suspect is in state custody. 2 hours ago. It's not even noon. So not until 9 o'clock this morning did MSNBC crack this update. Yeah, 2 hours ago, MSNBC cracked the update that he was taken into custody at 10 p.m. last night. Give me an effing break. They are complete hacks. And for that, we can thank them. If they were smooth operators in this, we would not have a chance of saving our democracy. I do think that our democracy is going to survive through all this, but I think that it's a dangerous situation, especially at the beginning of a weekend, where so many businesses shut down Friday until Monday morning. So, let's see. The Lord's way of separating good and evil, they are both very close to each other in your neck. Either one is not good for survival. The carotid artery in the jugular. Thank you. I wasn't even, yeah. And then the spell check got you with Croatia artery. But that, that could play into it too. Seriously, I'm not even kidding you. Not that there's a Croatian artery, but Croatia. So yeah, the jugular and the carotid artery. Absolutely. And those arteries, Anna Bees. I don't really know those arteries. My husband would know them because he's an EMT. But yeah, I know that they're both, what you said, not good to have anything happen to them if you're hoping to survive. So, yeah. My figures are no good anymore with neuropathy. Oh, I'm so sorry, Vieja. You're fine. No, I know. I have the same problem when I'm typing anything. But let's see. Should we see what CNN is saying or Midas Touch? So there's no more live anything. That's over and done with. Oh, goodness gracious. So much bullcrap. Okay. Trump Intel top Trump intel officials to be pressed on unclassified chat. Okay, Tulsi Gabbard and I think that's Todd Blanche. Trump says suspect in Charlie Kirk shooting in custody. So did you guys see the video that they released last night where I have a screenshot of Trump's hands up close as my thumbnail, and his hand is looking cryptic as ever. So the one hand is in a fist, the one that's got the big bruise on the back, and then the other hand is laying over it. It really reminds me of like an octopus, and it looks unnatural. It doesn't look like an actual hand. I am not sure, but I'm thinking that whole video that he put out last night could be artificial intelligence. First, it was Keith Edwards' channel that was focusing on the hands. At one point in like the 10-minute video, his hands do that, and they kind of blur out. And then there was like some TikToker who was saying that she thinks the whole video is artificial intelligence. And I think she might be onto something, simply based on that his head is a little bit too big for his body, and that the colors in the whole video are a little too saturated. You know, artificial intelligence, I'm sure will nail it shortly, but right now it needs a little tweaking. So that whole video could be artificial intelligence. But then allegedly he went live onto the freaking news today. Like, that was crazy. Like, he's out there strutting around on whatever morning show, the Today Show or something. Let's see what AI says. It was probably Fox. What news station did Trump go live on today? So that was 3 hours ago. And this is what I'm talking about. I think it was CNN. Was it CNN? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It makes no sense. Again, he's a hack. He's a reality television star. He's not even a successful businessman. He's a failed businessman. But he's good at the TV, but not good enough. You know, he's good at TV from the past. This is why he surrounds himself with all of these IT experts, because he's trying to keep up with the present, but he can't. You can't manipulate the world through media the way you used to be able to. There's too much independent information out there. And now we're all expecting bull crap anyway. So yeah, the interview was on Fox News. Of course it was, where he went out on the stage. Of course he goes out on a stage. That's like his favorite thing. He's such an attention whore. So I was also thinking this morning how him and Amanda Knox have so much in common. So much in common, because they're just attention whores. And think about Amanda Knox being in the presidency. Like, that, I think, is pretty much what we have. We have a psychopath like her who's an old man. Not that there's anything wrong with being an old man. There's plenty of old, wise people who could do a fantastic job of running this country. I mean, heck, even Joe Biden, as old and feeble as he was, much more competent than this guy, in my opinion. But somebody like Amanda Knox, who is so freakishly insane, and that's exactly what Donnie is. He's exactly like Amanda Knox. Like, they are cut from the same cloth. That's who we have in the driver's seat right now. It needs to come to an end, and the end needs to happen now. This weekend, is not soon enough. It needs to happen today before the sun goes down, please. Let's see. Charlie Kirk said that shooting is the price you pay for having the Second Amendment. I know, Anna Bees, that's like the quote I think that he's the most famous for. And it's a very cold-hearted quote. I mean, I don't think you can take the Second Amendment away. Like, you can't get the toothpaste back in the tube, but we have to do something. I mean, this is ridiculous. And I would think that that doesn't apply when he said it. It probably didn't apply if it was him or his family that it happened to. I mean, it's crazy. I need some chapstick. I need some coffee. I need you guys. Let's see, we've just been on for about an hour. There's so much that I want to say, but I am just at the same time kind of overwhelmed and flooded, and there's a pic of this guy to compare the first pics put out. Yeah, he's a skinny white guy. He's 22. I think he has brown hair. But why would it have taken them so long to capture him? No, I've heard some people say that the first two captures were just basically like planned dummies to drag it out. I mean, they probably thought that by now they'd have the Civil War. I think that they really overestimate the power of their insanity, and they didn't plan past this point because they thought that Charlie Kirk getting shot would just like instantaneously start the Civil War that they were shooting for. They were aiming for it, and they had all their little homies in place, you know, typing out all their little posts and everything, trying to instigate. And even the MAGA base isn't gonna buy that, I don't think. Sure, there's a couple of people that might, but I don't think it has a chance of coming to fruition. But I don't think they've thought past this point in time because they didn't expect to get here. So yeah, there is pictures of this guy. Excuse me. Yes, his personality needs for him to be exalted. And he needs the attention all the time. It's like the narcissistic fuel. If they don't have the attention, it's like they're dead in the water. They're in complete panic. They'll do anything to keep your attention. Constitution says it's our right to bear arms, not a privilege. Right. And like I said, there's no way, I don't think, that you could get the toothpaste back in the tube. You know, my spouse is a gun enthusiast. He's law enforcement. I have different opinions. I'm not a gun enthusiast, but yeah, I don't think that the argument has anything to do with reality. There's no way you can get that toothpaste back in the tube. It's never going to happen. So you need to think outside the box for solutions. The problem with quoting anything from the Constitution, in my opinion, is that Trumpster Fire thinks that he can rewrite the Constitution. He thinks he can do anything. And it's not so easy. Thank goodness. Yeah. Obviously, people aren't going to surrender their arms. So the people who do surrender their arms are going to fall victim to the people who don't surrender their arms. So there's going to be a lot of people that would never surrender their arms. They just keep them hidden the way they do now anyway with the illegal trade. So, yeah. So Charlie Kirk lived in Arizona. Vance flew with his remains on Air Force Two back to take his remains back home yesterday. Doesn't make sense. I mean, Charlie Kirk's not part of the government administration, unless he is part of the government administration. But no, to me, that's just more guilt, and they're implicating themselves more. Trump, of course, is planning on attending the funeral, just like OJ attended freaking Nicole Brown Simpson's funeral. Come on. They got to keep their thumb on the pulse. To me, that's an admission of guilt. So the FBI right now is suing Kash Patel. Did you guys know this? Right now, the FBI is suing Kash Patel. So they better be able to make a insurrection happen, right? To derail that, to derail everything. I don't think they're going to be able to derail everything. I hope I'm right. I hope I'm not wrong. But I think that they overestimate their power. Like, they think that they have the power of, like, God. I mean, Trump Starfire thinks he is, you know, someone big like me. Remember that whole quote from his visit to Texas and that little short 60-second video that I made of it that got taken down? That's the only video that I know of for sure that YouTube took down. The only one in 3 years. Somebody big like me. Who the F says that? Other than him. So the cheering guy, I mentioned something about the cheering guy, the guy with the beard, in some of the video footage of Charlie Kirk getting unalived, and I think he says something like, "Yay, we got him in the neck," or something like that, trying to make it look like this big conspiracy of all the radical left lunatics. And I've heard that guy with the beard is AI. I was talking about him in my last video, how he's like turning around, looking over his shoulder, and then he's like cheering to the camera, like way overly zealous. So I don't know if that's AI. I mean, with all this stuff, I think it's hard to tell what's real and what's not real. So I was going to maybe play some of that video from last night with, let me see about, it's a weird video, but let me see. It's TikTok. It's the dabbling chick. And yeah, it's a weird video.
I think Trump's remarks in the White House was AI. I'm going to show you the glitch. I believe this is the reason why they're going to try and silence us on social media, because we do the investigative work and we share it.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah.
Wait, Fred.
Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror.
Yeah.
Charlie was a patriot.
Did you see that?
Devoted his life to the cause of open debate.
Did you guys see the jump?
Country that he loves, united in shock and horror.
Okay.
Charlie was a patriot.
The jump is his hand.
Who devoted his life to.
I had comment after comment that it looked AI. And when I hopped on that live stream, the White House's live stream, I was like, the color is weird. It's brighter than normal. This doesn't even look like him. But then so many people messaged me like, I swear to God, it's AI. So I watched it like 5 times and saw the exact same thing, that jump. And that is AI glitch. I think Trump's remarks in the White House was AI.
I will put a link to that in the description. Sorry. I will put a link to that in the description. So the glitch that she's talking about is the same thing that Keith Edwards was talking about, where his hands do that for a second. It reminds me of that weird videotape, that 2-minute videotape that Kate Middleton released last year. You know, the one sitting in the garden with the bugs flying around, and she's like in the same weird sweater that she'd been in at some other point in time. And she's sitting there on the bench all by herself. Everything's fine. Nothing to see over here, folks. And yeah, I was looking in the video to see, like, there's no movement in the what is supposed to be the trees outside the window behind him. But there is a little bit of movement with his torso, but it's kind of robotic looking. And like I said, his head just looks too big for his body. But I don't know, maybe a filter could do that too, because we know he looks like crap. This country is in such a cluster. Yeah. Isn't it? It's all Vladdy's fault. I wouldn't even say it's all the Trumpster fire's fault, although it is. I mean, heck, why don't we just say it's all Biden's fault, right? Because that's what he loves to say. Everything is Biden's fault. It's like, dude, you've been in the driver's seat for what, 9 months? Like, you can cut that crap. You can like take some ownership, some responsibility for something, can't you? I mean, he was in the office for 4 years, starting 8 years ago. We have been through hell with this guy, I guess starting 9 years ago. OMG. It all started with the descent down the escalator with his extras that he paid $50 each to, I think. And that whole thing was a ploy to try to get a higher salary for his apprentice show, because he found out Gwen Stefani was making more than him on what is it, the American Idol or The Voice, one of those shows. He found out Gwen Stefani was getting like 20 million a show, and he's like, I want 20 million a show. And so he put up this basically like a skit that he was going to run for president. And then here we are. 9 months of hate and warning. There's so much hatred. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. I mean, there's never been any type of candidate from the Republican side or the Democratic side that's been so ridiculously divisive. I mean, he's completely out of his skull, out of his mind. And yeah, what are his priorities? What in the world are his priorities? He's got 5 kids. You think he cares about any of them? I don't. I think he might almost care about Ivanka. Might almost, but I don't even think he really cares about her. I really don't. But he does think she's hot, and he'd love to get in her pants if it weren't for that whole like incest thing. So back to Tyler Robinson, 22 years old. Pawpaw turned him in. Says that Tyler confessed to him that he did it. So Alex Acosta was interviewed on Tuesday. We haven't heard an effing thing about the interview, again, because of all this ruckus, all this distraction. The news cycle would have been all about what did Alex Acosta say. And maybe he said some really damning things about the Trumpster fire to try to save his own hiney. Maybe he's in hiding now. But Roy Black is deceased. That was one of the lawyers that worked with Little E, and Alex Acosta in the 2008 sweetheart illegal deal of the century. I'm trying to think. I think Alan Dershowitz worked on that deal with Roy Black, and then is it? I forget the other guy. Let me see. Who are the attorneys that worked with Dershowitz and Black on the sweetheart deal for Jeffrey Epstein? Well, it just comes up with Alex Acosta and Rory Black, but I know that there's another one. Kenneth Starr, that's who I'm trying to think of. And then there's a couple others that are mentioned, Jay Lefkowitz and Guy Lewis, and I wonder if they're still alive. So this is what it says. Jeffrey Epstein's legal team for the 2007 sweetheart deal included a collection of high-profile attorneys, often referred to as his dream team. The question appears to confuse Jess with one of Epstein's associates or attorneys. The key lawyers involved on Epstein's side, in addition to Rory Black, who was a prominent Miami defense attorney who led the team and passed away in July of 2025. He was 80 and he was sick, but still the timing is sus. He helped negotiate the non-prosecution agreement, NPA, with federal prosecutors. Kenneth Starr, the former Whitewater independent counsel who was part of the prominent legal group that handled Epstein's case. Alan Dershowitz, a Harvard law professor who was part of Epstein's legal team during the negotiations. Jay Lefkowitz, a lawyer with experience in the administrations of former presidents George H.W. Bush and George W. Bush. He worked with Alex Acosta at the law firm Kirkland and Ellis before joining Epstein's defense. Guy Lewis, a former U.S. attorney who was also part of Epstein's team. And then Barry, let me read the rest of this. Alex Acosta, U.S. attorney for the Southern District of Florida, approved the controversial non-prosecution agreement that allowed Epstein to avoid federal charges in 2008. The deal allowed Epstein to plead guilty to state charges and serve a light sentence with work release privileges. He later served as President Trump's Secretary of Labor. Had Trump not put him into his cabinet, he wouldn't be so implicated in all of these crimes, in my opinion. So for that, we can thank him. Barry Krischer, Krischer, the state attorney in Palm Beach, who was in communication with Epstein's attorneys and the U.S. Attorney's Office to resolve the case. One second. Attorneys for the victims, Brad Edwards and Paul Cassell, attorneys representing Epstein's victims, who and they're questionable too, just the same way that Virginia Giuffre's husband is questionable. They were maybe fixers as well for both sides, right? Attorneys representing Epstein's victims who filed a federal civil lawsuit arguing that the U.S. Attorney's Office violated the Crime Victims' Rights Act by not conferring with the victims before signing the non-prosecution agreement. Spencer Kuvin, another attorney who represented Epstein's victims more than a decade ago. This stuff is so effing crazy. So yeah, are we ever going to hear a damn thing about what happened earlier this week with Alex Acosta's little interview? I've heard that he's been subpoenaed, but I don't know if that's accurate. I kind of doubt it. I think some people got it confused when he scheduled this interview, that it was some kind of subpoena or deposition, which it should be, but him doing it voluntarily is his way of avoiding being sworn in, basically. So there's that. Alex Acosta, Roy Black, some other people who've passed away recently, like Hulk Hogan. I wonder what he knew. Somebody who's not passed away, who never gets mentioned, Les Wex. Let's not mention him, right? And Michael Jeffries, who is kind of another Jeffrey Epstein. Michael Jeffries was the one who was arrested a year ago, October, and he was 80 years old when he was arrested. And then he got out of trouble by being too feeble-minded to be prosecuted in court. So basically, he's off the hook because his brain no worky, which is what I figured would be Trump's last ditch effort. If nothing else, he can say, well, my health is failing, my brain is failing, I'm too feeble-minded, just like Michael Jeffries, to be prosecuted. But again, somebody like Michael Jeffries being protected like that protects the guy that I mentioned right before him, the previous owner of Victoria's Secret. The man behind the curtain, the puppet master of Little E. Man, Todd Blanche and Pamela Bondi were thanked at that prayer vigil / press conference right before I came on. That was absolutely insane. I think I'm going to wrap up. It's been an hour and 15 minutes, and I really appreciate you guys. And I'm going to probably be glued to the news all day. I'm going to try to get some other things done, but I'll probably have it on in the background while I'm doing whatever it is that I'm doing. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good day. I hope that the events of the day don't go down this path of destruction that dear leader is trying to drive it down with all of his manipulation of artificial intelligence and fake news and all the rest of it. 9 months of hate and wearing. I gotcha. Damn autocorrect. Making money for family and himself. Love your content, Jess. Oh, VA, how you're so sweet. I try to keep it interesting. You know, I mean, I have so few viewers, but I try to not let that discourage me because I think that I've been shadow banned from the beginning and that I probably, there's a possibility that I could have a lot more viewers and that it just doesn't record them. I mean, that's one thought that I've had, but also it's not about like clicks and likes and all that. It's about self-expression, and just being on YouTube gives people access to your ideas. So even though I don't have a wide reach, I know that other YouTube channels pick up some of my ideas and run with it, and they have a wide reach. So that's good. I wish they'd mention my channel so that I could continue to grow. But, you know, I just do what I do, and I just try to stay focused on what it is that keeps me true to myself and true to my priorities, which are truth and justice. And, you know, I just keep replaying in my mind from like a week ago when Pamela Bondi said, we will bring justice to the victims. And I've spoken about it several times on my channel. I really think that that was a thinly veiled threat to let the victims know that if they step out of line, justice will be brought to them. I don't think that was just a kind of an incorrect word choice. I think that was very intentional. You bring justice to the criminals, you get justice for the victims. But she said, bring justice to the victims. It was right around the same day as, was that just 4 days ago? Like the 8th? Am I in a time warp? No, the 8th was Alex Acosta. It was the week before. It was the 3rd was the day that the survivors were on the steps of the Capitol building. It is insane trying to keep your head above water. Like, talk about flooding the zone. Oh, before I wrap up, do you guys remember when JD Vance did his little canoe trip in the Dayton, Ohio area? And they went down the Little Miami River, which is a very small river. It's almost like a big creek. I mean, if you were in Colorado, it would be considered a creek, probably. And, you know, there's a lot of rivers in Dayton. There's like 5 rivers that intersect. That's what makes Dayton the city that it is. And there was that big flood in the 1930s where a lot of people passed away, and there's been like the Army Corps of Engineers that has been rebuilding and monitoring the rivers ever since. So for those that don't know, Dayton, Ohio is a huge river city. I mean, it's a very small city, but it's a huge river city because of its history. The history is very rich. Anyway, JD Vance went on a canoe trip. He had the Army Corps of Engineers turn on the water from Caesars Creek, which is a park. It's a nature preserve. It's probably like a national, federal nature preserve. I'm not even sure. But Caesars Creek, you can look it up. And so they released water from a reservoir from Caesars Creek to give him a better ride in his canoe for his birthday in early August. And I started to worry, like, could that have been like an exercise in figuring out how to flood Dayton again? But then I realized, and I haven't shared this on my YouTube channel yet, that was probably an exercise to figure out how to flood any river anywhere. That probably wasn't just an innocent little birthday canoe trip. Like, WTF, you don't mess with the homeostasis of the entire nature preserve. I mean, that's probably not even legal. I don't think it's ever been done. So at first, when I figured all that out, because, you know, a lot of us didn't know that there was extra water released. And then when we found out, we didn't know how. And then when they said that it was like a reservoir in Caesars Creek, local people were just like, what? They can do that? These people are so weird. Like I said, they think they're God. They think that they can just like turn on a faucet, like in Northern California, turn on the faucet to bring the water down to the fires. Absolutely crazy. So, you know, when I have concerns about electricity grids going down and water, you know, Trumpster Fire and his obsession with water pressure, I think is indicative of his plans to attack our country through access to water systems. Problems with internet systems, like when they took TikTok down for a day. That was also probably a test drive. And then you start to sound like a crazy person, right? Even to yourself. It's just like, all the gaslighting. OMG, I better just wrap up. Because that's their master plan, is to gaslight so much that you start gaslighting yourself. in my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. All right, you guys, let's all drink our water, eat our veggies and our protein, and just try to keep an even keel. Stay focused on what's important, your priorities, your own health, your own safety, the health and safety of your loved ones, and the health and safety of the entire community and the country and worldwide. I mean, this is absolute terror. All this crap is terrorism as far as I'm concerned. If all of this shit in Utah with Charlie Kirk's assassination was masterminded by these freaks, they are all terrorists. So on that, love and light, seriously, take care and talk to you soon.